what's going on, everybody? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com, and this is the Google Nexus One. In a word, this is the best Android phone you can buy right now, at least in the United States. Because if you're abroad and you get the version that has multi-touch support built in, maybe that's a little bit better. But in the US anyway, this is, in my opinion, the best Android phone currently available. Why? Mainly because of the Snapdragon processor that's powering this thing and Android 2.1. I also really like the form factor. The Moto Droid actually has a screen with a slightly higher resolution, arguably a slightly better screen than the Nexus One does. But I love how thin this phone is. I love that the display takes up basically the entire front panel. A very small amount of front panel is dedicated to the bezel and buttons and stuff. I love that you have the touchscreen plus the trackball control. Rumors that the HTC Bravo is going to have an optical trackpad instead of a trackball, which might be even better. But for now, I think the trackpad works just fine. Overall, just the experience is very smooth. I think 2.1 is the most consumer-friendly Android experience to date, and it generally works quite well. And overall, this is the most satisfying Android experience I've ever had. The Droid, if you want a hard keyboard, you've got the Droid or the Samsung Moment or even the Motorola Click. But for my money, I'd rather have the thinner device with just the touchscreen, especially because I don't like Droid's keyboard all that much. There are some drawbacks. 3G is only on T-Mobile. So, if you're on AT&T and you're using this, even though it's unlocked GSM, you're only going to get Edge. But you know what? Let's get into it. Enough of looking at me. Let's check out the phone. It's the Google Nexus One. Don't forget, lots more Android coverage, not only on PhoneDog.com, but on DroidDog.com. We've got John Walton, the Android guru, telling you how it is. But if you want to know a little bit more about what I think of the Nexus One, stay tuned. Let's dive in. All right, so here you go, Google Nexus One. Android 2.1, it's running. You can see the live wallpaper in the background, and I've got my home screen set up. A bunch of shortcuts and a couple of widgets, the photo frame widgets. They're my kicks, and there's me with Iron Chef Mario Batali at the Sprint event at CES a couple weeks ago. All kinds of notifications up in the top bar and everything. I'm not going to go into a whole, how do you use Android expose how-to tutorial. It's not an expose, but a how-to in this video, because it's a review, not a how to use Android video. But there are a bunch of, if you're coming from an Android 1.5, 1.6 device, there are a lot of differences between that and the 2.1 that Nexus One is running. If you're coming from a device like the Motorola Droid, which runs Android 2.0, there are still some differences. And so a couple of them, there's a new Google News and Weather widget, which is pretty cool. I've got the weather here in Oakland, and this RSS style kind of ticker of news headlines, and I can click on it, and then it launches their little app that shows top stories, and then you can scroll along the top, and you've got top stories in the U.S. And I went to hit sports, but I tapped on something else, which isn't going to show. It's going to that story I was looking at, which is on the New York Times website. Go back. What I actually wanted to see was sports. This isn't actually about sports. This is about all this, off the field drama. Well, some of it is. Anyway, you get the idea, though. The weather widget. There's also a weather feed there, and you get the full-on weather home screen, powered by the Weather Channel. So, pretty cool. I like that little functionality is kind of nice. And then, I've also got a couple other widgets going on, Facebook widget and the media player widget. We'll go to an empty screen here. You can see the live wallpaper. This is the, I forget what it's called, but it's like the water with the falling leaves, and you got the leaves falling, and, you can make ripples in the water. And so there are several live widgets like this. And at this point, they're just kind of cool. They're just kind of fun. None that are really all that useful, but the sound meter one, the ones that kind of interact with sound coming into the device, show that there is some potential for developers to maybe create some stuff that's a little more useful than just neat. But nothing wrong with neat. It's kind of fun. The polar clock was kind of cool, although the default setting with dynamic colors kept crashing on me. We'll go back here and we'll go to this other screen I have set up. It's got the power control widget, so you can do all your connectivity on and off, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all, GPS and everything else. Google Search with your voice control. I've got a video chat with my mom and dad in a little while. 2 hours, I got to get to that. So my calendar widget, obviously, and then some shortcuts to the marketplace, Twitter app I installed, that kind of thing. You'll notice, if you're an Android user, that on 2.1, the application drawer has been removed in favor of just a little icon that you tap, and your apps kind of swoop in there, and then there's a home icon to go back to your home screen. And I like this thing. It's a little, the animation's kind of nice, a little more polished, a little more user-friendly, or mainstream consumer-friendly, I guess, than the app drawer, which, could be confusing to some people. Android devotees are watching this thing and like, that's not confusing, what are you talking about? But I've known some people who are kind of confused by it. Also, a little 3D effect, it's like scrolling paper. When you scroll, if you imagine like a roll of paper, like on an old player piano or something like that, as you scroll, the apps kind of come in from the top and leave on the bottom, the little 3D effect. So just kind of nice, and I think these little changes, actually I think it is important for Android to become more kind of mainstream friendly, because that's how, massive adoption takes up, and, the more users using a platform, the more apps are going to be developed for it, the more time is going to be put into developing the platform itself. And so, Android is so customizable that these little, more mainstream consumer-friendly things, if the hardcore Android users don't want them, you can modify them out. So, I'm all for it. I don't know. Anyway, also in Android 2.1, you've got the voice-to-text, speech-to-text voice input all over the device. So what's on my mind? That's not going to give it. Let's get one that gets it. Let's go to messaging here. And so I'll create a new message. And basically anywhere that there's a text field where you've got a keyboard where you can enter stuff. And actually I could have gotten that from the other widget. I just didn't call it the text field. There's a little voice button. So I can hit the voice button now. I'll go to type to compose and I'll hit the voice button. What's up, dog? Don't forget to play the new One Pod Bandit on Phone Dog. And now it's going to translate it, or not translate, transcribe it. And that might be kind of off because there was some kind of funny, I don't know if it knows the words phone dog. What's up, dog? Don't forget to play is the new One and It on Horn Dogs. Well, that's kind of close. I couldn't have thought of a better, if it was going to fail, I couldn't have thought of something funnier than that. Let's try a more, one that it might perhaps know better. This is all run from server-side engine that converts your audio input into words. So let's see if there's one that the community has used a little more often that maybe it knows. Hello, how are you? I am running late. That's pretty good, right? Hello, how are you? I am running late. It might think that I work for a website called Horn Dogs, not Phone Dog, but it was able to transcribe, hello, how are you? I am running late. So speech to text, voice input all over the place. Wherever there's a keyboard and a text field, you can just hit the speech button. And that's pretty handy. And if, if you're using the phone somewhere where, you either don't want to or just shouldn't be typing on it, definitely a neat feature to have. And hopefully it will just get better and better as more people use it and, Google's servers have more data on which to base their transcriptions and their algorithms and all that kind of stuff. We'll go back. And, of course, you've got the navigation, the Google navigation, free navigation, turn-by-turn directions on the phone. So this is the car mode, and we'll do voice search. Navigate to pizza. And we'll see if we can find some pizza here. Yeah, navigate to pizza, that's what I'm talking about. But you've got the navigation, which works really well. Nice to see. Again, on the hardware and the 3.7-inch display, it's AMOLED, so when you're in, optimal lighting conditions like where I am right now, it's relatively dark. It's just beautiful.